Hello, everybody. Looks like we're live. We're about to go on the air. Gonna have to set up the mic here, get everything going. Hang on one second.
I'm not gonna have a mic, so I won't be able to ask.
Okay, that's fine. That's
or
fine.
I can say, we'll play by ear. If you need me to. Okay, ready? Stand by.
Hello, everybody. It's the Bitcoin Otter Show again. I've been on a little hiatus, and I'm glad to be back. I'll tell you that. I love to be in the studio. Got Joe over here. He took his mic away from himself. I don't know if he really wanted to say something today, and it might not have been nice. So maybe it's for the better. I don't know. But we've got the studio revamped. The walls are a little bit dark, but he's got the light fixtures working here. I'm just messing around right now trying to get KCYP the city on Facebook so that we can double tap the feed here. And since I'm not quite technologically advanced, especially not as much as Joe, then we're gonna see if this works here. So I'm just gonna hit this up real quick, and if I can't get it, I'll go back to just talking about the Bitcoin thing real quick. That said, I am really glad to be here. I'm glad to know that. Well, I'm not going to be able to get it on right now, but I'll tag it afterward. So I'm glad to be here because it's just so much fun. I can't really explain to you exactly how much fun this is. How much I really enjoy getting the word out. Not only about cryptocurrency, but about what many people nowadays call conspiracy theories, right? And yeah, you could throw me in that heap. I'll gladly sit there, if you will. But the fact of the matter is that somebody has to bring the word. Somebody has to bring the alert, the alarm, so that if people choose to be prepared, then they can be. And that's one of the things that I like to work on, especially with the economy the way it is and so forth. I want to find ways that I can shield myself from any upcoming financial disaster. And then if it doesn't happen, well, I can just either hang on to what I've purchased or I sell it, hopefully for a higher price than what I bought it. But either way, what I'd like to say is, along with the greetings, the blessings, and the good fortune that I wish you all, I'd like to say that when I'm able to get the word out, or I'm able to speak with someone, like the last time we were here, it was with a copyright lawyer, and she was great. She really showed us what it was that copyright and patent lawyers do. And if you're in the creative mindset, it would behoove you to look into that, because I'll tell you, if you create something, and whether you like what I create here or not, the fact of the matter is that if you create something and it's yours, you want to keep it yours. You want to make sure that you have the ability, if you want to change it or not. You don't want to give that up to anyone, or you don't want anyone to use your name in a way that might besmirch, if you will, your product, your service, your whatever it is that you do creatively. So what I would say is contact me if you want to know all of our information and stuff like that. I can get back to you on that. I'm at bitcoinotter@gmail.com. I'm sorry, that's bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. Give me a buzz in the Gmail. So, okay, gold today. What's gold worth today? Well, it's worth 1,175 Federal Reserve notes today. So, it's that much better than the Federal Reserve note. Silver, what is that worth? Well, right now they say it's worth, and we all know it's worth more than that, $23.33 an ounce for one silver bar, coin, whatever you might buy it in. So it's 23.33 times better than the Federal Reserve note. And Bitcoin, of course. What do we have? 17,427 times better as of today than the Federal Reserve note. I'm liking that. Now we know it goes up, it goes down. That's just the nature of the beast, right? Volatility is not always a bad thing. when you're dealing with something that has a volatile nature, price-wise, such as Bitcoin, you're going to have opportunities to get in, get out, and just wait for the wave, so to speak. Wait for the proper formations to come up, or just figure that, hey, it's going to go up. It was up at one point. It's going to go up again. But the fact of the matter is, it's an alternative asset, and that's why I like it so much. And you've all heard why I like it and the reasons why I'm into Bitcoin. But again, if you really want to learn the basics of how to get into it, very simple. I'm not a real technical guy. I can walk you through it. Again, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. So, a few things in the news that I want to touch on. One of those things happens to be the vaunted, and it's been such a long time since we got together that I haven't really talked about this, though you've heard it probably ad infinitum on whatever news outlet you follow. It's the FTX scandal, right? So this guy, SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, right? So SBF they call him. So everybody gets their initials nowadays, right? So you have AOC, SBF, all that good stuff, right? So we all get these initials. So SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, is now, for better or for worse, in a Bahamian jail. Yeah, he got sacked up in the Bahamas. Are you surprised? Maybe. Maybe not. What is there to be surprised at, I guess? I'll tell you what there is to be surprised at. He was hooked up. He was hooked up, ladies and gents. He was hooked up to what it seems to be the top. Seems to be the apex of the system, as it were. However, he got pinched. And, we'll use these terms, the parlance of our times, or at least when Goodfellas was made. He got pinched, right? Why did he get pinched? Here's the theory. And here's I think this is a headline here. SBF was arrested. This is from Fortune magazine, by the way. SBF was arrested just before he was to testify to Congress about FTX. Wow. Is that a coincidence, you think? He was just about to testify and he gets sacked up. And now he's in a hellhole. Really. I was watching a podcast. Well, not so much watching as listening, but it had a couple still photos of the joint that he got put in. Holy tamale. I mean, they don't have running water. You know what you get when you got to, do your thing after that nasty, roach-fested meal they give you there in that Bahamian jail. You know what you get to, how would I say this politely, to allow that stuff to leave you? You get a 5-gallon bucket. A 5-gallon bucket, ladies and gents. So this guy who was masterminding billions and billions of other people's money is now in a place where he's got to sit on a 5-gallon drum to do what we all do. I know. But that's how life is. Up one minute, down the next. But the fact of the matter is, if he would have ripped off me, if I would have been, how would you say, I don't want to use too many bad words because people were in that and they really didn't know how bad it was. So how money or any portion of it into the FTX fund, and Albert is watching. Hey Al, listen to this, okay? Just listen. Throw a comment up there. Maybe I'll see it. I hope to see it. But you need to know this. Anyway, if I was so impetuous as to allow this guy to have my funds, and he ripped me off, my parents or somebody that I care about, one of my children or something like that, I might not feel so bad for the guy who has to, hang over a 5-gallon bucket to do his stuff. And I'm sure there's not really nice people in there with him either. For bail also, see how that goes. But basically, if you're in the, how would you say, in the category of people that is hearing all this, there's the buzz of the FTX, there's the SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, and you're just like, man, I don't really want to pay attention to it, but you're aware of it. Let me give you a perspective that you won't see on the news. And here's this perspective. The reason it is so widely publicized is because cryptocurrency was involved. Okay? So one of the biggest things that the usual suspects like to do with cryptocurrency stories is to widely publish them when they go bad. Okay? They don't so much like to tell you how many people that were of modest means are now really financially free because of Bitcoin and or other cryptocurrencies. They don't want to publish that, which, there are many people. Yes, there's people who've lost everything because they got into something that really wasn't good, either for them, for their finances, or for anyone for that matter. But that exists everywhere, right? I mean, wherever someone takes the Federal Reserve note, do you know that they're honest because they take a Federal Reserve note? Do you know that they're not going to launder money because it's in the denomination of the U.S. dollar? You don't. Of course you don't. What is the widely most laundered instrument in the world? Ask Mr. Zelensky in Ukraine. He knows. The U.S. dollar. He's Captain Laundry. Right? Oscar, good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. So we got some people tuning in. Let us know. Let us know if hey Joe, does the studio phone work or doesn't it?
Yes.
We can what's that number again? 956
789
0702. So if you got something to say, one more time, Joe. One more time. 956 789 0702. So give us a call. You don't agree with me, give me a shout. Tell me why don't I agree with you, or you know something I don't. You want to bring some light to the subject, as it were. I'm ready. I'm willing. I'm able here. Jaime, I hear you knocking, Jaime. He's knocking. He's knocking on the Facebook door. Nice.
We have a question.
Okay, we have a question. What is it we would? Here comes Joe. Here comes Joe.
I'll come in here so that they can hear us. All right. So regarding the FTX scandal,
okay,
what makes it different from, let's say, the Enron or the Fannie Mae?
Good question. What makes it different? Why is this scandal any different from Enron? And if you don't remember Fannie Mae, you might be a lot younger than me, but Fannie Mae was one of the mortgage lenders from the 2008 debacle in mortgage. It was all based on a bunch of things that stuff that the banks were doing with people's money, right? So what it ended up being was a big scam because they lent out more money than they had. So fractional reserve lending, which is a crime that is pretty much relegated to central banks because they're the ones who have centralized. That's why they call them central banks, okay? Even I get it. That's why they call them centralized banks, because they centralize the finances, okay? So if you have finances centralized, then what you have is the ability of one entity to control every aspect about that subject, about that asset, in this case, the Federal Reserve note. So what they were doing was, for every $1 they had in someone else's money, they were lending up to $70 out. So 69 of those dollars were ghost dollars. They didn't exist. That's what fractional lending is about. Now, I believe that it's legal to the ratio of 10 to 1. And if anybody knows better than I do about this, let me know. I believe it's legal, not that it's right or moral, but it's legal to lend out 10 for every 1, meaning there'd be 9 ghost dollars out there, right? So what they did is what they always do: get greedy, right? Greedy people are everywhere, not just banks, but it's not uncommon. Hey, Luis, good to hear from you. Today's topic is right now, after we did the intro, today's topic is the FTX scandal. And thanks to a good question from Joe, I'm explaining why the FTX scandal is really no different from any of the others, like Enron, which Bernie Madoff made off with every everybody's money. Pun intended, yeah. But he's in jail. He's in jail, and he should be, because I mean, Grandma and Grandpa lost all of what they were planning to, become travelers or whatever it was they were going to do. A lot of people lost a lot of money, and it happened in their retirement funds, which is especially ugly, because if you're banking on something, then literally, right? Then, and when it's not there, it's not a good thing, not a good look. So, what occurred with FTX basically was they took investors' money, and in this case, I don't think all of it, but much of it was cryptocurrency. So, in my opinion, that's why this is being splashed all over every news outlet. In addition to the fact that a lot of people lost a lot of money, of course. However, with this FTX, they got a double header. They have a scandal, and they have cryptocurrency investment gone bad. They love it. They sit around doing that evil guy thing with their hands, right? They do this, just figuring out many more ways to bring this to the forefront of people's consciousness, because they want to burn it in. Cryptocurrency bad. Bitcoin bad. And if anything does it, it's a scandal, right? Now, they will never do the congruent pathway to what they're doing with Bitcoin with the Federal Reserve note. Meaning this. They're never going to tell you that, hey, you know what? The Federal Reserve note is immune from crime. The Federal Reserve note is not used in money laundering. The Federal Reserve note is scandal-free. Okay, they're never going to say that, because they can't. Nor will they highlight the fact that all these dollars that have been printed and just pumped into computers makes it much easier to launder them. There's just so many of them, right? They'll never tell you that. Of course they won't. They're in it. They're in it for themselves. So that's a good question. But the bottom line is, the FTX scandal is no different from all the others. We'll just leave it at that. So, what are some other things that we can discuss here? Oh, here's a good one. I guess our hey, Renee, good to see you, brother. Our favorite politician, Ms. Nancy Pelosi, had her she had her portrait done, right? So apparently, there in the halls of governance, John Boehner, a Republican, which, hey, that's, I guess he can be whatever he wants, right? But he bust into tears apparently at the sight of the I don't know if there was like a music track behind it, or whatever, but he really got emotional when he saw Nancy's portrait there. I don't know, everybody. I don't understand it, but he did. In Pelosi news, right? Apparently, the attacker of Mr. Paul Pelosi has a son. Okay, and this son is coming out. This was off Zero Hedge, by the way, if you want to look this up. His son comes out and says that his father was being held as some sort of sex slave by Paul Pelosi. Wow. Now, whether that's true or not, I have no idea. I wasn't there. Okay? As you can tell by my looks, no one wants to hold me as a sex slave, Joe. Yeah, with good reason. So, anyway, whatever the truth may be, we are not going to see that body cam. Right? We're not going to see what the cops saw and heard when he walked in, because it's just not going to be what any of us would ever accept as, how would you say, normal? Not to say that abnormal is bad, just that I think that the abnormal that was going on there was probably criminal. That's just me. You know why? Well, they're the Pelosi's. Anyway, President Biden will be giving $350 billion of your hard-earned tax money. You thought I was going to say Ukraine, didn't you? Well, he will. He will. But he's giving this $350 billion to Africa. Yeah. Isn't he a nice guy with your money? Yeah, I think I can feel it coming out of my wallet right now. Yeah. Oh, that must be something else. Anyway, he has said that $350 billion is going to Africa for various things. I don't even want to plug them. I'm not going to plug them. I'm not even Joe. I'm not going to say it. I don't even care, because we know it's just going to be laundered and come back to crooked politicians, Republicans and Democrats here in the States. So, what does that mean? That means that, again, these people are pretending to help people, when of course they're not. You want to help somebody in Africa? I do. I really do. And if someone's going to use my tax money to help somebody, I'm not necessarily against that. Not at all. But how about making it easier for them to get water? You think it might help in a continent like, Africa? A lot of it's, desert. You think maybe if they were to set it up so that more people had access to water, maybe that would help. Maybe if we put some money into that, and then perhaps we're accountable to it, showing receipts. Hey, we had this much money of American taxpayer dollars, and it went to this, and then they do a story on it or whatever, and you get to talk to real people and ask them real questions, and they don't have a gun to their head off camera. Maybe that would be nice. Maybe that'd be a good idea. Okay. Here's another one. Africa is surrounded by water, seawater. So why don't we come up with some sort of desalination technology? We know it exists. We know it's out there. But you know what? They don't want to help them out there in Africa. Why? Because they're poor. They kind of like them poor. In fact, they'd like you poor too. They really would. But we're not going to let that happen. Not if we follow sound money principles, which is stay out of debt. I mean, if I can come up with that, anybody can. Stay out of debt if you can. I know it's getting harder. I know it is. But another subject here. The scandalous Brazilian election, where, much like, other elections in other countries, were thrown for some sort of communist or socialist party, Bolsonaro basically got shafted. Yeah, in a word, shafted. Well, apparently, even the military, the Brazilian military agrees. So the way this works, from what I've read, is that, and this is on the Gateway Pundit, by the way, this particular article, but there's a lot more to it and a lot more places you can go for information on the Brazilian election and how it was stolen. So Bolsonaro is, he's not going to say that he lost in any way. He's not going to go there. But the significance of this, to me, is that the Brazilian military is actually going to defend the, the integrity of the election system in Brazil. And how are they going to do that? Well, I'm not sure. We'll see how it rolls out. Of course, the socialist communist, what's the difference, right? Socialist communist Lulu, I guess his name is. He's already indicted, I think. I think he's indicted, or maybe there's an investigation. He wants to put Bolsonaro in jail, right? I wonder if there would be some sort of parallel to draw here in the United States. Some popular figure that may have won a 2020 election, and they are digging up everything, including things from his home, because they want to put him in jail. Doesn't matter if he's guilty or not. They just want to put him in jail. I wonder if there'd be like a parallel, here in America to the Brazilian thing, where they wanted to put a rightfully elected president in jail. I don't know. Maybe there's one. I can't maybe think of it right now. But anyway, he's contesting the election based on apparently sound evidence that even the military leaders agree. So we're going to see how this rolls out, because Adel, thanks for tuning in, brother. Okay, it says here, Adel's got something for us. The military is executing the communists who stole the election. Wow. Do me a favor. Can you throw me up where you're hearing that? Where you're reading that? I'd love to know. I want to dig into it. So, wow, if they're going about it, here's what I gather. Here's the reason behind the military stepping in. Because when a country's system is so corrupt that the presidential, the executive, right? The executive, the judicial, and the legislative branches are all so corrupt that they can't ever produce any type of honest verdict, then okay, he's going to give us some word here. Joel, how you doing, brother? Good to see that you're on. So we're talking, in case you're a little late, everybody, we're talking about now, we've talked about other things, but now we're talking about the Brazilian election that went sideways, and though Bolsonaro apparently, based on evidence, won it, it was taken away from him anyway. So now the military is stepping in. So the reasoning behind that is the government doesn't work anymore. So there has arisen so much corruption in the legislative branch, so much corruption in the judicial branch, and so much corruption in the executive branch that it is impossible for the people of Brazil to be served by their government, because the government has basically been hijacked by corruption and corrupt people to the point where it was not a rightful or lawful, much less moral, election. You think we can draw some parallels between Brazil and the United States? Do you think maybe since our President Trump was friends with President Bolsonaro, there might be some sort of common ground there? Just questions, something to think about. You can agree or you can disagree, but the fact of the matter is, you can also think about it, and that's basically why I'm here. First purpose is to let everybody know God wins in the end. God wins in the end, everybody. And though I sometimes rant and rave, the fact of the matter is, I have full confidence that no matter what happens, I'm going to the right place in the end. Because Jesus Christ died for me. Now, you don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe in Jesus. I'm not forcing anyone, nor can I, into any of this. I'm just saying that I've read the script, and he wins. David, how you doing, brother? Joe? Joe is on also. We got some guys, a different Joe. I saw Joe. Joe's ready to go with, some sort of question or something over there. So we're getting some likes in here. Thank you very much. The subject matter here right now, what we're talking about is the Brazilian fiasco that they called an election. Kind of like one that occurred here 2 years ago, maybe a little more than 2 years ago. What a scam, right? Anyway, Brazil is now having their military is stepping in. We don't know the extent to their movements, the extent of their action, everything that's going on, but we're trying to dig into it, maybe get a little bit more source info for what's going on the ground. We'll just have to wait and be patient, but it most definitely is interesting to people like me and hopefully to you. So let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, this is rather humorous. This is out of Zero Hedge. This is their headline. Washington Post staff meeting erupts into chaos as layoffs announced. Wow, can you imagine the Washington Compost having to lay off people? Wow. It almost reminds me of a saying that our former president, or some people think the real one, Donald Trump, has said. And I think it went something like this. Go woke, get broke. I think that's how it went. So the Washington Post, along with rags like the New York Times, has so frequently done us disservice with mis and disinformation that I don't know why anyone would ever think to numb their mind and kill their brain cells by reading this stuff. But they do. They do. Although I have to say that I've also read that the New York Times is very much bleeding subscribers. And as we can see, the Washington Post, they're laying off people. You don't lay off people in the boom time, right? You lay them off when nobody's really paying attention. Like CNN. Everybody knows. It's just a bunch of bunk. Anyway, what else do we have here? We'll talk about interest rates, okay? How are they doing right now? Well, they're at the highest level since 2007, everybody. Okay? Interest rates at the highest level since 2007. So let's say you have worked up enough that you have a down payment, you got good credit, and you would like to buy a house for you and your family. It's a great thing to do, right? Part of the American dream is to own our own home. Little sidebar, you can't own your own home in America. What do you mean you can't? Right, even after you pay down the mortgage, you won't own it. Oh, just because you get the title, you think you own it. Oh, try not paying taxes. what do you think's going to happen to your house if you don't pay taxes? You know what's going to happen. They're going to take it. They're going to steal it from you because they want your money. Anyway, if you wanted to buy a house for you and your family to enjoy and not have to pay rent, you have hopefully some equity in it and you could sell it for more than you bought it for someday. The interest rate is so high now that you're going to be paying the bank, especially one of the other, in my opinion. This is my opinion, okay? I don't think it's been legally gerrymandered so that they get to do whatever they want to do because, again, the Federal Reserve is the Federal Reserve. It's centralized for a reason. Centralized banking is centralized for a reason. Why? Because they make all the rules. And here are the mortgage rules. They take the exorbitant interest rates that they charge you and they front load this huge load to the upwardmost first portion of your mortgage loan. And what does that mean? Here's what it means. It means that for the first single digit, maybe up to 10 years, you're paying more in interest, way more in interest than your principal, but also more in interest than you are principal and taxes and insurance. They designed it that way because it behooves them, it benefits them. So, the fact of the matter is that if you buy this new house and it's 7, 8, 9% interest, then the fact is you're going to be paying the bank's crazy amount of money and you're not going to get any equity in your property, house, whatever it might be, until you've gone well into that loan and you've paid an enormous amount of money in interest. It's just, that's the fact. And that's what they want to do. That's what they like. They do this for a reason. And it's not for you. Anyway, so let's just say you were in that position. You're probably going to shy away, and I'm sure there's going to be some sort of housing issue coming up. That said, there is a very interesting correlation between high interest rates in 2007. What is that correlation, Otter? 2008. Yeah. So 2008 was the crash. That's when housing prices just went, especially in places where they spiked. They went down into the floor, into the dirt. Anyway, people just left their homes. You don't have to be too old to know what happened in 2008, right? So, highest interest rates are at right now what they were since 2007. To me, that means bad things. Okay? Please, everyone, don't take my advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to give you any financial advice because I'm just a guy, fumbling around trying to figure out how I'm going to prepare my family for any financial downturn. I'm just sharing what some of the things are that I do. This is not financial advice, but what I can say is that if history is any indication of future, we may want to be careful what type of debt we put ourselves in right about now. Because if there is going to be what many people describe as the next wave of financial hardship coming, we might not want to be in the position where the bank can take everything that we, threw our money into. Just a thought. So, what else do we have here? Oh, Representative Katie Porter says that the term, guys, I gotta talk, I've spoken about this before. I'll give you the guess, Joe. Let me give this headline real quick. Representative Katie Porter says that the term pedophile is discriminatory. Of which state would you guess Ms. Porter is representing? California. Ding, 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 ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yeah, Joe got it on the first guess. So, California Representative Katie Porter is saying that we really shouldn't use the word pedophile to describe someone who abuses a child in those horrid ways that they do. Why would people want to take away a very descriptive term for a person such as that, committing evil deeds such as they do? Why would someone want to destigmatize someone who does that to children? What would be the motivation to smooth out the reputation of someone who does things, very evil things, to children? Why would we want to make them look not so bad in the eyes of the public? I think we all know why. I think, unfortunately, we all know why. She also said that I don't think she likes the word groomer, which is what we know as someone who approaches, someone who coaches children to do things that we would never ever want done to us or anyone else, anyone else's children. So let's just, keep in mind that there are people out there that are willing to go the extra yard to make even the most evil among us look better. And it's crazy. So these are the kind of things I just can't sit back and ignore. So I'm sharing them with you, not to get you angry, but who knows, maybe there are people that tune into this show and they don't really get a lot of outside news other than mainstream. If so, send me an email, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. If you really do want to know or learn a little bit more, I'm not saying I'm smarter than you, much to the contrary probably, but I can say that I've had my eyes and my mind on alternative viewpoints, perspectives, and information. And you can be the arbiter of truth in your own mind. You put it through the crucible of critical thinking, use all the logical skills that you've been given and have been blessed with. God has blessed us with these things. Let's use them, because our educational system is trying to separate us from the thinking process. So, in closing, as Joe has coached me before, I will do again. Thank you again, Joe. Joe's the pro around here, okay, everybody? Joe is the pro. I'm just, the guy who's learning about what's going on, usually slowly. So, we started out with, of course, greetings and blessings. Good fortune to all. That said, we went into the FTX scandal. I basically went over the fact that FTX is not unlike, other than the cryptocurrency portion, is not unlike any other scandal where somebody ripped somebody off, or in this case, a lot of people off for a lot of money. Then we went through Ms. Pelosi's portrait. By the way, Joe, I'm not going to be hanging that portrait up in my house. I will not, no, thank you. Then President Biden giving $350 billion to Africa. To what? We have no idea. All you know is that it won't be to what he says it will be. Bolsonaro, the president there in Brazil, is he's contesting the election results, and the military is going to get in on that. Let's see if we get anything back. Hey, Johnny, good to see you, Johnny. Glad to have you tune in. I'm just doing a recap, but this is live right now, but it'll be on my Facebook page for everybody to check out later, and then you can throw some comments, and we can hopefully get down to brass tacks on some of this stuff. Then Paul Pelosi's attacker, the guy has a son. Paul Pelosi's attacker has a son, and apparently the son says that it was something hinky going on there, which we all knew, but basically it translates to the guy being there as more of a victim than an assailant. I don't know. I wasn't there. Thankfully, I wasn't there. It would have been ugly if I was. Interest rates at the highest since 2007. We covered that. And there's another representative from California, Freaky-fornia, we might want to call it, that wants to make our kids a little less safe. So here's a reminder. I took this. This is just the last thing, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, the Federal Reserve was created in 1913. 1913, the Federal Reserve was created. Since that time, our dollar has lost 96% of its buying power. If you think that's an accident, think again. Again, bitcoinotter.media at gmail.com until they scratch me out from that. Gmail dumps me or whatever. I don't know. But send it to me. And I've got some other emails after that one. We'll be all right. Contact me if you want me to touch on a subject. Or go on my Facebook page. Contact me. Whatever you want to do. The fact of the matter is, I want to talk about what you guys want to hear. So, one last thing. I want to reiterate that God wins in the end. I know there's a lot of bad news and I focus on this, but I do so because I don't know that you will receive this info anywhere else. I'm not making it up. There are sources for it, and I try to read out all the headlines and so forth, but the fact of the matter is that God wins in the end. We are blessed to be in a country that has religious freedom. Some may say that it's being infringed upon, and they may be right, but we still have it. We still have it right now, to this day. So, my message is, God wins in the end. Be on the right side. Be on the right side. And as the economic ninja, if you want to check out some really cool economic preparation things that you can do and possible investment tips that he will, of course, say he's not a financial advisor, but I'll tell you, I listened to the guy and he's been through many of these ups and downs financially, and he knows what he's talking about. What he says, and it's a pretty good tip, be prepared, not scared. Just be prepared. Prepare yourself. Prepare your family. Get ready for what's to come. And you know what? If it doesn't come, if no crash happens, well, then you got some assets that you can sell or save for a rainy day or pass on to your kids. Simple as that. I want to thank everybody that's watching right now. I want to thank Joe for blessing us with the opportunity to come into this great station, this studio that he's put together. New floor after the flood incident. If you guys been long-time watchers of the show. But looks great in here. And I just want to thank you, Joe. I want to thank you, everyone that tuned in. And anyone who's watching it on Facebook after we're live, that's great too. Send some comments. Send some emails. bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. I will answer you. I will. Not a problem. So, God bless everyone. God bless you and your families. If you have any tips you would like me to cover, any subjects, let me know. And for that, I am out. God bless you. Amen.